Some of you might not have thought of Royal Enfield as an Indian company because the founder of Royal Enfield were not Indians. So, how Royal Enfield became an Indian company? Want to know? Be with the video till the end. The story of Royal Enfield starts with the name George Townsend. In 1851, George Townsend established a sewing machines needles manufacturing unit under the name Givry Works in Hunt and Redditch. The company specialized in producing sewing needles along with various small machine parts. Redditch is a town in northeast Worcestershire, England, approximately 24 kilometers south of Birmingham. After George Townsend died, his son named George Townsend Jr. and his half-brother were brought into the company. They made a crude bicycle which was made up of an iron backbone, wooden wheels, iron tires and pedals of triangular pieces of wood. The bike was a source of some amusement, but George Jr. and his team felt that they could easily improve on it. Now, the early 1880s, George Jr. had become interested in the new models of safety bicycles, which were replacing the older velocipedes with their dangerously high front wheels. Velocipede is an early form of bicycle propelled by working pedals on crank fitted to the high front wheels. Their first bicycle was actually an adaptation of the Bone Shaker. By 1880, the earliest modern safety bicycle with two wheels of equal size had appeared. All manufacturers, including George Jr., were trying their hand at this new venture. By luck, George Jr. invented a saddle that used only one length of wire in the two springs and incorporated springs in the framework to reduce the shock. This was adopted, patented, and marketed as the Townsend Cyclist Saddle and Springs. He had entered the bicycle parts trade. From bicycle parts, Townsend slowly moved on producing bicycles himself. The Townsend cycles were reputed for their sturdy frame, a character that all Enfield bikes followed. Givry Works was growing rapidly. Unfortunately, Townsend got into some unspecified financial trouble in around 1890 and was forced to call in financiers from Birmingham. After a series of disagreements, Townsend left the company. Albert Eddy and Robert Walker Smith took control of Townsend Cycle in November 1891. In the same year, the firm was renamed as the Eddy Manufacturing Company Limited. Soon after this, the Eddy Manufacturing Company Limited received a large contract to supply precision rifle parts to the Royal Small Arms Factory in Enfield, Middlesex. And in celebration, they named their newest bicycle model the Enfield. A new company was created to market these new design bicycles called the Enfield Manufacturing Company Limited in October 1892. The next year in 1893, the word Royal after the Royal Small Arms Factory was added to the company name and thus the Royal Enfield began. Their trademark, made like a gun, appeared in the same year. The first automotive vehicles with the Royal Enfield name were produced in 1898, a quadricycle with a D-Dian 2.75 HP engine. In 1910 came the first of the famous Enfield V-twins, first with Moto Sacoche 344cc 2.75 HP engines, later with Enfield's own engine. During the First World War, Royal Enfield were called on to supply motorcycles to the British War Department and also for the Imperial Russian government. During World War II, production changed to motorcycles for the war machines. The most well-known offering for the Second World War was no doubt the Flying Flea, also known as the Airborne. This lightweight 125cc bike was capable of being dropped by parachute with airborne troops. The Enfield Cycle Company was called upon by the British authorities to also manufacture a variety of special instruments and apparatus to use against enemy forces. So it was not bikes alone during the war years. In 1931, a 4-valve single-cylinder was introduced and christened Bullet in 1932. It had an inclined engine and an exposed valve gear. It was then that the first use was made of the now famous Bullet name. In 1955, the Indian government, while on the lookout for a suitable motorcycle for patrolling the country's border, chose the 350cc model Bullet as the most suitable bike for the job. The Indian government then ordered the 800 350cc model Bullets, an enormous order for the time. In the same year, Enfield Cycle Company partnered with MADRAS Motors in India to form Enfield of India, based in Chennai. Under the Indian law, Madras Motors owned the majority, over 50% of shares in the company. the new company started assembling the 350cc Royal Enfield Bullet motorcycle under license in Chennai with components imported from England. From 1957 onwards, Enfield of India acquired the necessary tooling equipments to manufacture the components in India. By 1962, all components used in the 350cc Royal Enfield Bullet motorcycle were made in India. In 1967, Enfield was sold for €82,500 to Norton Villiers, who acquired 33% of Enfield India. Royal Enfield produced bicycles at its Redditch factory until it closed in early 1967. The company's last new bicycle was Revelation Small Wheeler, released in 1965. Production of motorcycles ceased in 1970, and in 1971, the original Redditch Worcestershire-based company was dissolved. In February 1919, Eicher Good Earth bought 26% stake in Enfield India Limited, and by 1993, Eicher acquired a majority stake of 60% equity shares in Royal Enfield India. Enfield of India continued producing the Bullet long after the UK factory's bankruptcy, and in 1999 changed its branding to Royal Enfield. Enfield of India continued producing the Bullet and began branding its motorcycles Royal Enfield in 1999. The models produced and marketed in India include cafe racers, cruisers, retros, and adventure tourers. In recent years, Enfield India have claimed to own the name. Today, Royal Enfield manufactures motorcycles in India and known as Enfield India in all over the world. If you like the video, tell us in comment and do subscribe to the channel for more videos.